Welcome back to another episode of Meredyth with a Y. I am your host, Meredyth Willits, and today I will be discussing we are the collective. We can't help it. There's nothing you can do about it. You are energy. You are going to be affected. And how can you affect the energy around you in a very positive way? So stay with me. Hello, everyone. This is Meredyth with a Y, and I am your host, Meredyth Willits. Today, we are going to go deep, changing lives, and I am giving you the keys to the castle. Welcome back. Here we go. We are the collective. There's nothing you can do about it in the best possible way. And so, no matter where you sit on this planet right now, no matter if you're for everything that's happening or against, it doesn't matter. You're going to feel the effects of it, just like you feel the effects of when someone's in a bad mood or when someone's energy is in a good mood. It doesn't matter. We can't help by being affected by the world around us. So many people right now want to go protest, don't want to go protest, they hate the protest, they hate everything that's going on. They're being affected by social media. It doesn't matter. So what is it that you can do to improve your experience, and how in the world can you understand what is going on? Because today's a great day, right? You woke up, it's a great day, life's good, but something feels off and you don't really know what it is. And so that many times is the collective. So, what do we do about that? First and foremost, I think it's important to have a conversation that although we are affected by the collective, and the collective is all of the plants and trees and humans and stars and planets, everything is the collective. Everything that is in you and outside of you is the collective, and we are one with that. Okay? So I used to not understand how the heck astrology worked. Like, what is astrology? Like, how are these people, Venus and Neptune and Uranuses and going direct and rising? And I was on a trip in Iowa, I think it was about a year and a half ago, and all of a sudden I received this channeled message. And the message was that each planet, each star has an energy, and based on the month, year, date, time, location of your birth, those planets, when you were born, conjuncted in a certain way that created positive, negative strengths, and so on and so forth in your digital profile, if you will, of your human self. And those will continue to affect you, to push and pull and direct you for the rest of your life. And so, just as the planets can affect us, so can the people and situations going on around us every single day. Every single day. And so, you can't escape the collective, because what you see on the outside is technically what's going on the inside of you. You are the micro of the macro that is the universe. And so, what is coming up in the collective, usually in some way, shape, or form, is coming up in you. There is no disconnect. There is no difference. You are the collective. And so, what we see coming up as we end this year of the snake and we're shedding the old skin and the old relationships and the old jobs and the old trauma and the old everything, right? That's exactly what you see around you. We are shedding the things that no longer serve the whole. That's what people don't understand, is what we're seeing right now is that if the system in which we were existing doesn't work for everyone because everything is us, then it can't work for anyone. And so it must end. So what we are seeing is the end of a system. We are seeing the end of a way of living life. not only for yourself, but for the world around you. And so if you were going to end a marriage or you were going to end a job, those things would be traumatic. And that's what we're seeing in the world around us. We're seeing the end of a system, and that is traumatic. The world will never be the same ever, ever again. It has changed forever. And so as we shed, we have to regroup. We have to figure out what's next as a collective. There is no other way. And you may be experiencing this in your own life. Maybe all of a sudden things feel uncomfortable. You feel not yourself around certain people. Maybe the job that you've always loved starting to feel heavy, uncomfortable. And so things that were okay before, tolerable before, are no longer tolerable. And that's a good thing. Discomfort shows you where you shouldn't be anymore. Discomfort shows you what you're leaving behind. As I described to one of my clients, I said, look back at your life 8 weeks ago. Would you tolerate the things you were doing 8 weeks ago? Would you tolerate the things that you tolerated 8 weeks ago? She's like, no, I could never imagine tolerating those things. And I said, exactly. And it's only been 8 weeks because you are an entirely different person. Was it easy to go through these last 8 weeks? No. Was it fun going through the things that you went through the last 8 weeks? No. But look at how you're an incredibly different person. You don't tolerate garbage. You understand when you're being treated badly. And that's exactly what we are going through as a society, as a planet. The things that were acceptable, the things that were hidden, the things that we didn't even know about that were going on, they're being exposed. We're starting to see for the first time that maybe this thing that we call democracy maybe wasn't so much democracy, because what doesn't work for all doesn't work for any. You can't be treated badly at work and then treated well at home and then just call it a day, because it's imbalanced. And so when our body, when our government, when our society feels that imbalance, everything starts to come to the surface. We start to see things in a way that we never saw them before. We start to say, oh, wait a minute. Why do 6 people in the Walton family hold more wealth and power than 90% of the United States citizens? This doesn't make any sense. And wait a minute, the people that work at Walmart, wait a minute, they're getting Section 8. They're getting food stamps. They're on welfare. So we're paying for the Waltons to be some of the richest people in the world. This doesn't feel right. That doesn't seem like it's working out for the rest of us. And so things come up. We recognize the system that we thought was wonderful maybe isn't so wonderful at all. Because technically, we're paying for the Waltons to be very, very wealthy. The other thing that we need to understand is that as things start to come up, you can recognize them. The fact that the majority of our democracy has been based on politeness, and that we might not have the security or the parameters around power quite the way we thought we did. That so much of it was based on friendliness or respect. And when that friendliness and that kindness and that respect disappears, the system starts to crumble. How is that a system if it's based on if everyone's being nice to each other? That's not parameters. Those aren't laws. That's a societal norm. The thing of it is we need to recognize that as the collective moves, ebbs, and flows, it has an effect on us. Even if we bury our head in the sand and say it doesn't matter, I don't pay attention to politics. I'm just going to live my life. The thing of it is when we level out the planet, when we make things fair for all, what happens is that things need to fall. When we lift up another group of people, that doesn't mean that you have to give yours away. It just means that everything's going to shift. And so even if you think this doesn't affect me, you cannot bury your head in the sand and think that it never will. You can't step on someone's head and think that it's not going to affect you, because it will. We're seeing that it will. We're seeing that it is. Everyone is affected. Everyone will be affected. I don't care how much money you have or what color your skin is. I had a guy reach out to me this morning on social media telling me how afraid he is that he came here legally from another country. Legally. That he has all of his documents, but he's afraid to walk around the streets. That he left a country because of their government and ended up in another country, and now he's afraid of this government too. True fear. And that fear emanates out into the collective. And that's basically what they're banking on. They're banking on us being afraid. They're banking on us submitting. They're banking on us wanting to be polite and good. They're banking on us not wanting to ruin things. They're banking on us wanting to hold on that someone's going to do the right thing eventually. But we've been waiting a long time for that, haven't we? We've been hoping that any minute now, someone's going to step up. They're going to see what's going on. And I made a video that said protests are not working, because protests work on the idea that people like to be liked, that they want to do the right thing. But we are playing in an entirely different game over here, people. No one is coming to save us. We are playing by different rules because we are playing with different characters. We are playing a game with cheaters. Period. And so when you play a game where everyone doesn't follow the rules of the game, you have to come up with different rules. First rule, do not be afraid. Do not. Because this wouldn't be going on right now if they weren't afraid. This wouldn't be going on right now if they felt confident. This wouldn't be going on if everything was okay between mom and dad. It's not okay. They're afraid. They're creating distractions because they know what's in those files. They know. And they will do everything possible to ensure that they never see the light of day. Ever. We know what's in those files. If you haven't gone and listened to Sasha Riley over on Substack, there's a whole slew of audio tapes that you can listen to. This was a veteran that recorded them. The things that he's talked about in those recordings have been verified by many people. Go take a listen. Get your head out of the sand. Know what's going on in the world around you. But don't be afraid. Because fear is what they are harvesting right now. I'm telling you right now. I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. Fear is the game. And if you want to play it, and you want to play it well, you don't give in to it. Ever. But I also think that when we look at the collective, we need to understand our power in the collective. We need to understand that even as fear is harvested, so is love. And I know that you might think, well, that's just so Pollyanna. I promise you it's not, or they wouldn't need the fear. I promise you that love is not benign, or they wouldn't try to make us so afraid. I look at Minnesota and what's going on there, and I just keep thinking to myself, there's only a couple 100,000 or less illegal immigrants in Minnesota. It makes so much more sense to go to Florida or Texas where there's millions. You could roll a ball down the street and probably hit 6 or 7 of illegal aliens, as they like to call them. Why would you go to Minnesota? Fear, injustice, anger, frustration, because it's not about illegal immigrants, and it never has been. Or Kristi Noem and this administration would have never sent a letter that said, we will take ICE out of Minnesota as long as you hand over your voter information. It wasn't about illegal immigration. It's about fear and control. If it was about illegal immigration, they wouldn't be willing to pull out. They wouldn't be in a state that has so few illegal immigrants in the state. They would put all of ICE in Texas. They would put all of ICE in Florida. They would put all of ICE in Southern California. But they don't. They don't do that. That would make too much sense. You have to look at what is going on. You have to look at what they are normalizing. You have to look at what they are trying to create and turn your backs on it. Everyone keeps asking me, based on my protests don't work, very viral video right now across social media. What's my answer then? Well, I have a few of them. I'm beginning to believe that the best thing to do at this point is protest the companies that are supporting this administration and ICE's works. There's hotel chains that are supporting their housing. I believe it's Verizon and AT&T are supporting their telecommunications. UPS, I believe it's FedEx. The United States Postal Service, use DHS. I think we need to boycott the companies that are helping this along. Because being out in the streets, although productive, they are proving that they do not care and they will shoot people in the streets. And where there is 1, there is 2. Next week, there'll be 3, and then 4. We need a different plan. The other thing that you can do is you can call your HR person. You can call your the person that handles your IRA or your 401k and say, I would like to divest out of any companies that create or build private prisons. This is easy to find. Go on chat, go on Google and ask, who are the ones that are creating these private prisons? I want to divest into anything that has to do with this administration. Your HR, your person that does your 401k, etc., IRA can help you do that. Divest your money. Protest the companies. And when I say protest the companies, I do believe that we should be standing in front of the companies with signs. It's one thing to march around. The other day I was in downtown Chicago and I saw on social media there was a protest downtown Chicago. I didn't even know about it and I was downtown Chicago. I promise you, if you went to your local UPS store with some friends protesting UPS, I promise if you went to your local Verizon store, your local AT&T store with some friends and protested the stores that are helping ICE and helping this administration, that is going to be a lot more productive than walking down the streets of Chicago. We need to do things that are active, that are local, that are poignant. We need to tell the companies that are financing and helping what is happening right now, we need to tell them no more. Walking down a street, not causing a problem. No one gives a shit you're walking down the streets. I saw a really cool thing today that instead of following ICE, what they are doing is using their car horns to notify residents that ICE is in the neighborhood and they can do it from the safety of their own home. My goal here is for people to stay safe and create change. The government does not care. The Democrats are authorizing, as of the other day anyways, more money to go towards ICE. At this point, ICE's budget is more than some entire government's budget for their military. And the Democrats just authorized more money. What? We need to tell the companies, Home Depot, UPS, FedEx, Verizon, no more. We are protesting you as a company for being involved in this. Stop protesting downtown. Stop protesting in the street. Protest in front of the companies that are supporting it. Now, what can you do? Maybe you're a mom like me and you don't feel safe protesting in the streets. You don't feel safe going toe to toe, nose to nose with an ICE agent now that we've seen what they are very willing to do. What can you do? What can you do from the comfort of your own home outside of what I just said? Use a United States Postal Service. Use a different carrier for your cell phone service. But you can also understand that you are the collective. You are the collective. Nothing outside of you is not affected by what is inside of you. You have power inside of the very thing that you are, your very own body. So let's take a minute here and talk about what does that look like? Well, for one, I received, based on, if you listen to my last week's podcast, that we need to recognize that they are using the Bible to justify what they are doing based on Old Testament laws and Old Testament legalities. And I believe, based on the information that I've gotten over the past few weeks, that the Old Testament God and the New Testament Father are two very, very different energies. Two very, very different energies. The feared, jealous, angry, needing sacrifice God of the Old Testament is not the loving God that Jesus talked about. And I don't care if you are not a religious person, you need to understand the playbook by which they are playing. And if you don't understand the playbook by which they are playing, you are missing the whole point. And so if you don't believe in what I'm talking about, or you do, I want you to practice this. I want you to practice this. I want you to try this, and I want you to do it when you have a moment. I want you to feel the energy when you think of the word God, God of the Old Testament. See, when I do that, I start to shrink. It is a pointed local energy. Feel it in your body. Feel what the word God of the Old Testament feels like. Where does it hit? How does it vibrate? Where can you see it? Where is it at? Is it local or is it expansive? Sit with that. Take a moment. Release it. Now I want you to imagine the Father, the universal Father that Jesus spoke of, that loved you, loves you, is unconditional, lives inside of you, is at one with you. There is nothing that you need to do. Feel the Father of the New Testament. It's expansive. It makes you grow. It's everywhere. It's inside, it's outside, it's everywhere. When you feel that there's nothing that you can do, I want you to imagine in your mind's eye, you can close your eyes or leave them open, and I want you to pretend that you are dropping down, 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 down into the space right behind your heart. Sit there. Can you feel the weight in your chest as you sit behind your heart? And then I want you to imagine that energy growing just outside of your body. And then I want you to imagine that energy growing to the room, then to the space that you exist in, then maybe to the neighbor's house, then down the street, then your entire community, your entire state, and then the entire planet. Feel yourself taking up all the space. Feel yourself expanding from the space behind your heart. That is the energy of the Father. That is the universal energy of love. And you're sending that out to everywhere. That is how you can help. No prayer needed. No begging needed. No on your knees. You can do this driving down the street. You can do it at a stop sign. You can do it at child pickup. You can do it when you wake up in the morning or when you're eating breakfast. Sending that energy out into the collective is so incredibly powerful, especially when you understand that the very thing that they are trying to create is fear and hate. Can you feel your chest? It feels like it's exploding. It feels full. It feels wonderful. That's what you can do if you can't get out and do anything. That's what you can do if you can't protest. And if you are on the other side of the aisle, if you are excited about people being killed in the streets, if this makes you happy that ICE agents are around the country knocking on doors and doing all the things, you can still do it too. You can still spread love out into the world. Maybe it will change you. Maybe something will crack inside of you. I spoke to someone this past week whom I love more than anything in the whole world. And I've talked politics with them before, but this was the first time that they expressed to me that they were happy about what is going on in the world. And to say that I was shaken by that information is an understatement. I couldn't believe it. Not only did they vote for Trump, which I thought that they might have, but they hadn't been changed by what's going on. They hadn't been changed by the executions. They were still on board. And I don't know what to do with that. I know in the Bible they said, where there were two, there will be one. And I can't help thinking about that. Where there were two, there will be one. It feels like we're living on different planets entirely. I'm watching one video that shows me something, and they're watching the exact same video and they see something completely different. I see someone being gunned down while laying on their back after being pepper sprayed, and all they see is he had a gun. We don't know where he was coming from. We don't know if he lived on that street yet. We don't know if he was just walking down the street, saw a commotion, pulled his phone out. We don't know what was going on. And I'm going to say something right now that might sound crazy. I'm going to say something right now that a lot of people might not like or want to hear. When Charlie Kirk was killed, by whomever killed him, I thought long and hard, what do I have to say about this? What are my views on this as a human, as a medium, as a spiritual thought leader? What are my thoughts? And at the end of thinking, sitting with all of that, I thought to myself, if I would have been there, standing there watching that man be murdered by whomever killed him, I would have done everything in my power to save him, even though it appears as if he was not savable. There were many people that cheered at his death, and I was not one of them. And being perfectly honest with you, I believe that he was murdered because he changed his stance on Israel. I honestly believe that Charlie Kirk was killed by his very own people. And as we watch the transition from Charlie to Erica, I don't think I'm half wrong. So many people came out from the right that said, how could you cheer for Charlie's death? You meaning others. He was a person. He was a man. He had children and a wife. I don't see that same sentiment happening for Renee Good. I don't see that same sentiment for this guy that was killed. Alex Preddy? It's funny how it's okay when it's someone else, when it's the other side, that you can stand on your high horse and just and say, he was a person. Pick a lane. Pick something to stand on. Because when you don't stand for decency, for kindness, you are so easy to manipulate. So easy to manipulate. I did not like what Charlie Kirk had to say. Every time I saw him, I just thought, sweet Lord, mother of pearl, how in the heck are you spewing this madness? And even when he died, I was like, ugh, Not good, but and then I realized it's not good, period. None of this is good. Because what you do to one, you do to all. What you do to one, you do to all of us. Nothing can happen to one of us without affecting all of us. It's impossible. It's impossible to separate yourself from what is going on outside of you because you are what's going on outside of you. What we are seeing in the world today is what lives inside of each and every one of us, whether we like it or not. Because even if you are against racism, even if you are against bigotry, even if you are pro LGBTQ, even if you stand shoulder to shoulder with every minority on this planet, we still allowed it. We allowed it. And when we allow injustice for one, there is injustice for all. We can't escape that. It's the way that it is. I sit there and look around the world and we talk about injustices. We talk about Gaza. We talk about genocide. If the American people actually gave a shit about any of that, we wouldn't see what's going on in the Congo. We wouldn't see what's going on over the years in Haiti. We stick our nose in business, in everybody's business 24 hours a day, but somehow we just can't manage to help the actual people that need help, unless, of course, we need something from them. We as Americans see ourselves as the good guys, the peacekeepers. But I think in this day and age, we realize that none of that was ever really that true. If you look to my post that says protests don't work, people are angry at me. Protests do work. How do you think all of these things have changed? If protests work, the Vietnam War wouldn't have lasted 20 years. We're at the precipice here, people. Or hopefully close. We have to decide what's next. We have to decide, do we really want equality for all? We have to decide, is democracy and capitalism, the patriarchy, white nationalists, is this where we're headed? Is this where we really want to go? Do we really have freedom of the Second Amendment? Is that really a thing? If the minute you have a gun on your waistband, you're shot 11 times while laying on the ground? The NRA has even come out to condemn what Trump said about Alex Preddy. We only think that we are free. We only think that we live in a democracy. The presidency is a zero-sum game. You have the power to stay out of fear. And that is the greatest thing that you can do for yourself and your community today. You have the power to call your HR. You have the power to call whomever is in control of your IRA and tell them that you want to divest in all companies that are supporting this administration. You have the power to spread love. You have the power to help a person that is afraid to go to the grocery store, ensure that they get groceries delivered to their house. We are in a moment right now, believe it or not, where we are going to need community more than we have ever needed community before. And you might not even know your neighbors. It's time to get to know your neighbors. It's time to figure out how you can help, even if it's just the people around you. It's time to figure out if it's okay that someone dies just because they're on the other side of the aisle, or if it's not okay for anyone to die. Because you can't have it both ways. So many people on social media are like, how could you not care that someone was killed in the streets? Maybe because we didn't. Maybe because we didn't care. They had a belief system. They were murdered. They had a belief system. They were murdered. We have to decide, is that okay or not? Period. Get out of fear. Figure out where your money is going. Figure out where you can protest companies that are supporting what's going on around you. I promise you there's a Verizon. I promise you there's a UPS store. I promise you that there's a FedEx store. I promise you that there's an AT&T store around you. You can protest those spaces safely. Look out for your neighbors. See who needs help and get back to love. If you know anyone that needs to listen to this episode, I know it's quite the roller coaster ride. Please forward it to them if you have a second. Please go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave a review, 5-star review and a written review. It helps the podcast immensely. I greatly appreciate it. And, look out for yourselves. Get down behind your heart. Send that love into the world around you. It's the very least that you can do, no matter what side of this you land on. It will do you some good, your family some good, and the world around you for some good. So have a great week. Thanks for listening. If you would like to connect on a more personal level, head over to meredythwillits.com or on Instagram at Meredyth with a Y for behind-the-scene footage and outtakes. Please subscribe and come back each week for more Meredyth with a Y. Thanks again for listening. Cheers.